Yo, what's up? It's Josiah. And this week we are so happy to treat you to some plugged in performances from the bands you've been hearing on the channel for 8 or 9 years now. Gone by in a flash. Returning for another Sirius XMU session. Alvvays are all sound checked and set up for songs from their delightful new third album, Blue Rev, which by some counts is one of the most critically acclaimed indie records of the year. You're going to be hearing Alec and Sheridan and Abby and Anna playing in Alvvays in some of these performances. Joining me on mic for the interview, we've also got Molly and Carrie. Y'all, Blue Rev was definitely worth the wait. Thanks for being here with us, Sirius XM, for this week's session. How you folks feeling over there today?
Hey, we're well. We just rolled out of a bus, trying to look presentable for you.
Feeling fantastic, I'm sure. Let's get us right into one of this week's first songs. The album's really colorful second track, Easy on Your Own. Molly or Carrie, you choose. Can one of you fill us in on where this song got started or the journey this song ended up taking over time?
Oh, yeah. I was doing a little residency, a writing residency on Toronto Island. And you just take a ferry over, and I was staying in a classroom portable room with a big chalkboard and started writing that song there. I would just walk down to the shore and take in the lake and conjure up little ideas. And yeah, I mean, it's a few years old.
Yeah. Playing from our Sirius XM studios in Washington, D.C. This is Alvvays with an exclusive performance of their song, Easy on Your Own. Such a beautiful, bright sounding performance of Easy on Your Own. I feel like the clouds have parted. The whole day has turned around over here. We're joined by Alvvays for this week's exclusive Sirius XMU session. So, look, in the 5 or so years since your previous album, Antisocialites, and during lockdown, these new songs had lots of time to develop, evolve, or maybe be like rebuilt entirely. Molly, I'm not sure if listeners know about your experience being subject to both burglary and flooding back to back, which wiped out your demos and equipment. Would you fill us in on what happened there and how that ended up affecting your process?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it didn't have too much of an effect, but I left my apartment for probably an hour and came back, and everything was torn apart and upside down, and a window had been broken. It took me a few hours to realize that my hand recorder and headphones were gone, but that was several hours of me howling at the moon with lots of different demo ideas, and it was all gone. I don't really have any closure, but I've been pretty good at like remembering different melodies in my head, so hopefully it was all recreated as best as possible. And then the following night, I had a bunch of pals come over and comfort me in my despair. And as that was happening, there was a very heavy, uncharacteristically so, I would say, in Toronto, heavy rainfall. And water just started pouring through the walls of the basement where we keep all of our gear and practice sometimes. And I mean, like, we did dodge a lot of the water, so nothing really was ruined. It was just more of this really strange sequence of events that, you know, could have been read as some type of sign to stop what we were doing. But
how did you pick up? Like, what was the road to recovery from that? Did it take quite a long time to get writing, recording again, or you were able to pick up right away?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have another job, so I do kind of just have to keep going, unfortunately. No, I mean, another thing that is a big part of when you write songs for a long time, you have little habits that you fall into, little patterns that your brain falls into. And a lot of the things that I think I'm probably missing from those recordings are just mistakes that sometimes turn into something more interesting. Mm-hmm. And you just sort of follow that path down, you know, a curveball or something. But there, you know, on the record, there's lots of strange moments. And I'd like to think that we tried a lot of different ideas out and aren't missing much.
Yeah. Well, a little later on in the Blue Rev journey, I was so happy when I first heard that you had been recording with Sean Everett, who has mixed and engineered like way too many amazing albums to note, including Casey Musgrave's Golden Hour, personal favorite, this year's Epic from Big Thief, the last few albums from The War on Drugs. I think I heard one of you all, maybe Molly, refer to Sean as a wild man and a scientist. Could you describe a bit of the dynamic working with him on these songs?
Carrie, did you want to go into that? You're a big Sean fan too.
Oh, he just has like dreads and crazy glasses, and everything he owns is broken, and he really knows how to make lemonade out of any situation. We had so much fun with him.
Yeah, he's not afraid to be silly or scary or anything. He's very animated and has a foot in the door of the past, like a ton of analog tape gear. He spent a lot of time honing those skills, I believe, at the Banff Center in Canada. But then also he's very much in tune with every new facet of technology on the internet or like any AI stuff. He really has his feet in both worlds, and it's cool to see that blend and a lot of overlapping references. Like, I didn't really know what to expect when we showed up, but he was really into the Smiths and REM and lots of the scrappy things that we tend to be drawn to.
Well, we're about to hear the opening track from Blue Rev, the first song we heard from the album, the song Pharmacist. Carrie, do you want to recall back to when Pharmacist first started coming into focus for you and Molly? Were there any elements that clicked into place early on Pharmacist?
I think the guitar solo has been an early aha moment. It kind of has retained its crazy energy the whole process. I remember that was my favorite moment, maybe on the whole record. And I think, we kept that. Yeah.
Really fighting for that to remain exactly how it started. So,
yeah.
Well, once again, from our DC studios, here's another performance from Alvvays, exclusively on this week's Sirius XMU session.
I know you back. I saw your sister at the pharmacy picking up. Said you had that new love. Now that you wanna wake up on the right side. Looking back.
It's Always for the very plugged in performances this week on Sirius XMU Sessions. You just heard them play Pharmacist from our studios in the District of Columbia. It's Josiah chatting with the band about their new album, Blue Rev. So, Molly, if I understand it correctly, I think the both of us share something in common, playing the violin from a very early age. Outside of my work in radio here, I spent a lot of time helping kids learn the fiddle for the first time. Do you feel like there are any through lines from that early experience on the violin to how you think about melody and harmony today?
Well, one of the things that is really prevalent in Celtic music, which is what Carrie and I were both surrounded by as little people, are that all of those tunes and songs are passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation, like 100 years or more. And so I do think those melodies really stand the test of time, and they just sort of bounce around forever. And I think that probably contributes to the way that I try to write melodies, in that they can be stripped down or they can just be remembered easily. Stubborn, I guess.
Mm-hmm. There's one other area that I wanted to hear from both of you on. I'm so glad we've got you two in particular, Carrie and Molly, for the interview.
Oh.
Over the past few years, right, interviewing on this show, including artists like Japanese Breakfast and Soccer Mommy, I felt it pretty necessary to do some deep dives into their Stardew Valley game saves. Can we hold just a little bit of space for that together before we move on to the next song? Can you update us on who you've been romancing, how the carrot and parsnip economy or whatever has been going for you?
Carrie's married, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm with Emily, and I have children. Snarto. Shout outs to
I don't
Snarto.
remember the name of the other child.
Yeah, I can't
The
remember.
forgotten child. I don't think I'm married, or maybe
Yeah, you're married to Alex.
Oh yeah. The jock life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're just now collecting Dragon Tooth. We got an obelisk, so we can just jet down to Ginger Island whenever we feel like it. On a whim. I don't know if you're there yet, but I'm sure. Are you already doing the key challenges and whatnot?
I didn't get that far. I really enjoyed what I played, though. And even though you're unwed, I'm sure that Grandpa is still proud of you, for sure. Is the Jojo Mart still standing, or did they close that shit down in yours?
Oh, the brawl has already occurred.
We got rid of that.
Yeah, that guy needed to go.
Okay, good. All right, maybe we bring this indulgence to a close and get back to some music. We're about to hear a performance of Many Mirrors, which is a really nice, open-hearted tune. When I hear this song, I think about some of my own relationships, and especially those that have endured over a long time. Can you fill us in on what this song means to you, Molly, or where it fits in on the album for you?
That song was always very beautiful to me, and part of why I can appreciate it so much is that it started in Alex's brain, and he showed it to me. He had, I think, the verse and the guitar solo, and I brought in a chorus and sort of, little other melodies weaving through. But sometimes when it's someone else's baby, I can enjoy it more, and it's also just a different vocal style for me, and is challenging in that way.
Well, let's check it out. Here they are once again. It's Always, performing in the Sirius XM studios, treating us here to their new song, Many Mirrors.
Now that we pass through many mirrors.
from their new album, Blue Rev. You just heard Alvvays playing their song Many Mirrors exclusively on this week's Sirius XMU session. So before we say goodbye, Alvvays are going to treat us to an especially tasty cover, taking on a Jane Wiedlin song that came out when this guy was all of 4 years old, Jane's song Rush Hour. Whichever one of you suggested this cover in the first place, or maybe it was someone else, I don't know. Can you let us know like your history or your connection with this Jane Wiedlin track?
Well, we had put in like a Belinda Carlisle reference in the record on Belinda Says, that track. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of like a eureka moment for the record. And we love Heaven is a Place on Earth and the Go-Go's and Jane's solo stuff too. And there's such a great performance of Jane singing Rush Hour. I think it's on Top of the Pops, where you just sort of like airband and dance around. And, you're not actually singing or whatever, but it's such a bizarre, fun thing. And I just really admire the Go-Go's energy and their spirit. And there's also a really cool, like, recent documentary of theirs, and it documents their whole journey. And I thought it was just really neat to see them and that they're still pals now. Inspiring.
Such a fitting cover choice for you folks in particular. Well, here we go. Alvvays are going to play us out with this cover. You guys, we're so grateful for your taking the time to visit our Washington, D.C. studios this week and sharing these performances with our listeners. Whenever it's time to share something from the next batch of songs, we certainly hope you'll come back, and we'll see you back then, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for having us in here.
Yeah, this has been great. Listeners can roll back the tapes on this entire session whenever you want on the SXM app. It's Josiah out for now. One last time, this is Alvvays taking on the Jane Wiedlin song, Rush Hour.